Hey guys, I'm Jack and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. I had about 30 minutes to kill here. It's 1:30 on a Wednesday afternoon, so I thought I would just pop down here to the beach and sit and chill out for a little while. And I'm sitting here just thinking about things, looking around, watching people walk around, watching the waves come in, and just thinking how life is good and how I kind of like what I've created for myself. You know, I guess you could consider me a slacker. Sometimes I'm not one of those go-getters. I'm not grinding away through that 9 to 5, sitting in rush hour, going to a cubicle. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't knock anybody's lifestyle, just like I don't like anybody knocking mine or calling me a slacker. Actually, I don't mind if you call me a slacker. I could care less, because I am a slacker. Because I've got my priorities in life are my priorities in life. And, you know, I just figured out a long time ago that I don't need a whole lot of stuff. That stuff will just tie me down. And my biggest priority is freedom. You know, it's like I enjoy little things like this. I enjoy the fact that I'm a 51-year-old man that can just go screw off for 30 minutes at 1:30 on a Wednesday afternoon. If I really wanted to, I could spend the whole afternoon here. I could have spent the whole morning here. That's just me. That's how I set my life up. That's how I like things. You know, people ask me about my lifestyle sometime, or I guess they speculate, and you know, I live in the tropics and I live in a beautiful place, and I never take that for granted, and I'm very happy to be here, and I'm grateful for my life. But it's not all that random. I mean, we choose. We start laying the foundation. I started laying the foundation for how I was going to live probably right out of college. I've always been able to live a little bit more like a backpacker than somebody my age. I mean, I'm not very established. That's why I don't do very well around grown-up people, mature people, because I've never been one. You know, I've said this before, but for new people, I'm 51 years old. I've never been married. I don't have kids. I've never owned a house. I've never had anything resembling in my adult life like that structure. I've done maybe, you know, in the States, I worked mostly in restaurants and bars. I did have a limousine service, but that was crazy hours. But I've never done the 9 to 5, and I just never could see myself buying into the 9 to 5. Now, I'm not judging anybody else. Everybody lives their life however they live their life. I do feel sorry for people that don't realize they have choices. In other words, like I have friends that have the cookie cutter life, just like you would imagine you're supposed to have. They have a wife, 2.5 kids, the nice little house in the suburb, white picket fence. They go to barbecues on the weekend. They play the kids do soccer, and they hate their lives. And then I have friends that do that same exact lifestyle, and they love their lives. Because the friends that love their lives did well, whether they did or not, a lot of them did some of the stuff that I've done, like the traveling and living abroad and just getting out and sowing your wild oats and stuff. Some of them did that, some of them didn't, but the ones that I noticed that are happy, they made a choice, they made a conscious choice. And they realized it was a choice. It wasn't something like they realized, like, okay, I'm a certain age, it's time to get married, now it's time to have kids, now it's time to get a job I hate. In other words, they didn't just do it as sheep, you know, following the system. I never really got into that. I kind of knew I was different from about the time I graduated from college. Never have put down roots. I've just always bummed around. Kept my possessions low, but that's a good thing because I can always pack up and move. And that's always just been something that I just really love. I like the fact that I'm a 51-year-old dude that lives like a 23-year-old backpacker. I mean, if you had a good plan, except for my books, I'm pretty much down to in my house now. I think I could pack up essentials and be gone halfway around the world in about an hour. Well, depending on if I needed to do laundry or whatever, but yeah, I wouldn't even mind paring those possessions down a little bit more. So, you know, I'm just really all about efficiency these days and getting things as simple as possible. Anyhow, I'm just starting to ramble now, but yeah, that's just all I was going to talk about. Like, these are my priorities, and these are the priorities that also keep me healthy in life. Maybe these are the reasons that even after all that drinking and all of that bad living, that I have ended up in fairly good health because of my circumstances, my stress level, and my surroundings. So, all I would take from this is know your priorities. And you know, how do I say? Know your priorities, and don't be afraid to make priorities for yourself that may not suit other people, or that other people might not approve of. You might be labeled a slacker or somebody less than productive. You know, we have to be productive members in society, but you got to do what's right for you. Anyhow, there wasn't a whole lot of purpose to this other than just to say hello from the beach, wish you a nice hump day, and tell each and one of you that I love you, like I always try to. Peace.